Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. May Jesus Christ bless you. I think it's time we have ourselves a bit of a Happy New Year's, 1st of January 2023. It's time to have a straight-minded, level-headed conversation about the year ahead in regards to the topic that's been plaguing a lot of God's kingdom this last year, significant others. Right. I got a couple little, let's take it from a couple of angles because, sorry, I've got to climb under some trees. If you can grab it from different angles, get the perspective, you won't be desperate about this again. You'll allow the process to do what it needs to be done. Right. So, all the way up to Christmas, it was like a lottery. He's coming. She's coming. He's coming. She's coming. Right. So, I'm glad that I went through what I did because I'm one of the ones that should have been coming, right? But the other side of it is, mine's not ready yet. And that is what it is. But I want to explain to you the process of what I went through over Christmas, and you've been sitting back with glittery eyes expecting that it's just going to happen magically out of nowhere, and God's a miracle worker, but sometimes miracles, they take longer than dates that we set for ourselves, getting our hopes up, and too often we're disappointed, to be honest with you. And so coming up to Christmas, every year I say I've worked hard, but this last 4 weeks, it was 4 weeks ago I did 10 tractor tyres in 3 days, and I reckon that stripped the glycogen out of my muscles. It was that hard that I had to sleep Saturday and Sunday just to try and get some sort of recovery. I've been disassembling and reassembling a centre pivot, and I've done a couple of spans of that, and we're talking by myself. These things are 60 metres of length each, and they stand about 5 metres off the ground, and I've managed to dismantle them and get them down and pull them apart, and I've got one put back together and the other one will be put back together soon. But plus flat tyres, plus burst water mains, plus generators that you got to repair. We're talking operations. And then not only that, the week before Christmas, you might call it lucky, I had a bull go down. I mean, it wasn't sick, it was just old age, it got him. And why would I not take advantage of that when I've got a bull terrier and a bull mastiff and a Marimina feed? And problem is, that was Wednesday before Christmas, and look, I didn't do the whole lot because he was just too big, but I got his legs, and I put them in the deep freezer Wednesday because I was like, I'll get them sorted Saturday morning, right? So he wouldn't fit in the damn freezer because he was that big, and I've got a big freezer. So I actually had to spend an hour trying to downsize those legs to get them in. Sorry, it's bright. So then that was that night, and we're talking I've got to be up at 5:30, and then we're not finishing until 10 o'clock some nights. I didn't finish until 10:30 this Friday night that just went. Now, the week before Christmas, look, I got caught out having to do a load of welding, which was, I just can't believe to weld one component for a centre pivot takes as long as it does to rebuild an entire span. It blows my mind. Anyway, what I welded up has the capacity to water the same amount as an entire span. So it works out in the end. It's an important thing that I put together. Anyway, that wasn't the only problem. The other issues that I had is that we're in the hottest days of the year, and all our dams dried up, and had a water main down, and I had to go and had the fittings, but I didn't get this stuff called insertion rubber to fill out the small discrepancies in the pipe so that there was a flat surface for the fittings that I've got to seal it to actually work properly. And I couldn't get that till Boxing Day, but back to it. So like, it's just been on. It's been operations flat out. Wednesday that just went was probably the biggest operation of that farm's life, I think. I had everything up and running, everything. Anyway, back to it. So all the generators, all the pivots, all the pumps, everything. That was Wednesday that just went to get the dams back up and full because it had just dried out. Summer had caught up at Sydney. Anyway, so on Saturday, I got up at 5 o'clock. See, you got the boys coming for their swim. I can't be stuffed to walk when it's too hot though. So that mastiff hates the water, eh? Anyway, so I got up at 5 o'clock Saturday morning before Christmas, and I didn't finish butchering that cow until 12 o'clock. And let me tell you, guess what my fly screen was for the flies? The rotten bits of carcass that couldn't go in the freezer. Like, we're in summer, you know what I mean? And like, I suppose maybe I shouldn't have been butchering him. And it's actually funny, if there was 1,000 flies, I'd say 900 of them were on what you weren't putting in the actual freezer, and you were pretty much left alone because I was in the shade, and you know, there's plenty of ventilation and everything. It's just, it's a word for anyone. Once you get to the end of spring, don't take animals as dog meat. Don't do it. You need to get it before December starts. And unfortunately, I was 3 weeks late on it. I got it. It was very hard work also. That day it's sort of healing now, but cut myself. And so I just bought some chain mesh arms. So the next time I do the butchering, because I was tired. This is the problem. Fiddling with knives while you're tired. Go boys! You can cut yourself, and bloody dangerous. I've cut myself before and I had a knife go 2 or 3 inches up my arm and had to use a tampon to seal it anyway. So this one here, it's alright, but it was just a near miss and it was a bit of a scare, and it was just, I'm trying to put a situation here for you to understand that, do you see how I've been really, really, really busy? And that's just not this place. The other place, that's not the place up in Sydney. The place here where I'm at, I've been building a bridge. Flat. Now, so after butchering that cow and it was 12 o'clock, I was like, fuck, I better go and jump in the shower. I'm going to do this for my own reasons, because I gave my significant other some jewellery. And there's no proposal in it. It was just purely, you know, amongst other things, I'd hate to say it, the depth where things are at. And she loved it, and it's good, but like, it allowed me to see where things are at, and, you know, we're still in the egg. That's all right. Now, so what I did do though on Saturday was like, you know what, if the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to go and get the ring. So this is at 12 o'clock on a Saturday, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, sorry. I go and have a shower. Then I put some decent clothes on. I haven't worn decent clothes in about 6 months, mind you. And head up to the mall. Now, ladies, this is who I'm speaking to right here. A proper wedding ring, an engagement ring. Don't worry about how much they're worth, but did you know that you can insure them like a vehicle? You can get them serviced like a vehicle. There are specific themes that you can work with. It's not a case of walking and going, yep, they'll get that one there, off we go. No. You got to sit on it. And so what I did, I was like, well, to be honest with you, at this exact point in time, I'm not prepared to go through the process of, it's going to take me a month or two to pick it. I don't have that time right now. So I'm just going to get a makeshift ring for now. And a major part of my theme for my one is like, I know what they do with an occupation, so I don't need diamonds falling out everywhere. So it needs to be, you know, they need to be built within the body of it so that things don't fall apart. Anyway, so I found something which works for now, but that was by 3:30 I found it. So I had to go for a bit of a look between a couple of different shops. And then, beyond that, it finally hit me. I was like, fuck, I've got to get home, and I've actually got to go to do the gym because like I've got my gym routine. But after that, I was like, I can't be here too much longer because I'm tired. I got home and I went down for a nap before the gym. And as I woke up for the gym, I had to set an alarm. Have you ever been that tired that you're like, you almost get sick in the stomach and want to spew? That's how tired I was, right? And then, look, I worked through it, got up, and we went and done the gym, and then walked the dogs after that, and called it an evening, and then Chris was, come on! These cows are half mad. What? Get here! Anyway, so that was my Christmas, but, so, what's the point of me talking about this right now? You guys are waiting for a miracle. For us Kingdom Men right now, like, I got that ring, look, for a number of reasons, because now I've got it on me, I will have it available at a moment's notice because timing is everything. So if I see the right timing, boom, it'll be out, we'll get this sorted. But aside from that, I went and got it to put something like this together to show you, like, this glittery-eyed bullshit that we've all been suffering. For some of us, it's almost impossible to be able to pull that miracle off right now in life because we're just so damn busy. And it takes effort. And it's the type of effort that most can't afford it. I don't suffer that problem, thank goodness. I'm in a really good situation. But even with being in a situation where, like, I can afford what I need to get, I don't have the time. And not only do I not have the time, I don't have the time for the heartache. So we're talking about timing and alignments. Like, the reason why I gave the jewellery was so I could depth where they were at to see, are they ready for it yet? And they're not ready for it yet. I don't have the ability to cope with heartache at the moment because my kingdom that I run, I don't need for me to fall apart because I experience an arrow in the heart, you know? So, now that we've got there, you know, we've all got stuff that we're going to suffer, but you're expecting the miracle. It ain't going to happen that easy. But I think the glittery eyes nonsense that this last month presented needed to get out of the way because now let's get pragmatic. Let's be real about this. Let's be practical. Let's put some actual physical, logical, sound-minded, righteous thinking towards where are we up to here with this? You know? Women, don't eat shit. You're waiting for your man. Man, you're seeing if your woman's ready. This is a birthing process, but like you hear it's a birthing process, but most are still trying to poke the bull. And when the bull runs, you'll be pissed off that the bull's ran, but I need to explain to you now what is the birthing process, because if you hear this, it'll settle you down and you may even wait another 12 months and it won't concern you, the wait, right? You know, like, there's been a lot of like, oh, you're going through the birthing process, like push, 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 push. Look, I don't think we're trying to shoot an egg out of an hole. Yeah. I'm not trying to put up a 200 kilo bench press here. No, not that type of birthing. I mean, like, you know, when you guys women say like, oh, you don't know what it's like to be pregnant. Well, we've suffered you, so, you know, it's pretty painful, I'm guessing. But no, all jokes aside, I think one of the closest things a man can go through to a pregnancy is a massive bench press. We're talking about those ones that takes 12 months to prepare for and you only just get it, and if you get the near miss you may crush yourself. It's you've just birthed greatness, and the feeling afterwards, you've paid your dues, and you know, there's a slight nostalgia there where it's just like, yep, the dawn has entered the room. Anyway, so and we've all got our ways of experiencing the birthing of greatness, but I have this feeling that we've missed the mark. And I'm going to call this video Honour the Hatching Process, because where men and women get it wrong is you've got like, oh, it's like giving birth to a baby. No, it's fucking not. And it's not like trying to lift a heavy weight. It's not like that. It's like a chicken trying to hatch out of an egg. Do you want to know why I like chickens hatching out of eggs? Look at this idiot. They'll spook here in a moment because they've discovered they can get within 10 metres of each other. Anyway, so we're talking a chicken hatching out of an egg. It doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl. Whilst it's hatching, it don't know what it is. It's just suffering. And so the problem you've got is you're trying to force the hatch. And with forcing the hatch, I don't know if you've ever had chickens, and this is why there's a few things in life I think people need to do. One, I think they need to go fruit picking or vegetable picking and have a look at the strenuous nature of just how economically unviable the food industry is. Next, I think everyone at some point, hunting, I was a born hunter, you know what I mean? Thousands of wild pigs. I don't do it anymore, and I may get back into it, I don't know, but butchering something, it's good for you to know, like, where does your meat come from? And they talk about, oh, if you get a bull, you'll get slabs of meat. You know, when you butcher it, like even a bull, you've got to earn your slab. Nothing in life comes easy. The cows don't milk themselves, right? So where we're at here is you got to go and pick fruit or vegetables, butcher an animal, milk a cow, but the other one is get some chickens and watch an egg hatch. Honour the hatching process. And the hatching process is the birthing process that the Lord has been speaking about. And it's gender neutral. No one can argue about, oh, you don't know what it's like. Well, look, we're talking chicken and egg stuff here, and it's the chicken coming out of the egg. And it doesn't matter whether it's a boy or a girl. So, have you ever watched a child, and if you haven't, look up some videos on YouTube around eggs that are trying to hatch. Look, I know even as an adult, I've struggled with this. You see the little chicken, it's like, oh, let's help him out here. And I did it once, and guess what happened? Fucking chicken died. Because it turns out that the struggle they've got to go through is what gives them the strength to be able to survive the next part of the journey. You can't assist the hatching. You can't assist it, right? So so that's what I say in the birthing process. We ain't no woman in labour at the 8.5 months, or we ain't there where our water's broken, we're pushing. We are not pushing. No one's pushing here. Only half of you can understand that, because the closest thing I can talk about to doing pregnancy is taking a shit. What's that got to do with the price of milk? Nothing. At least we can all get on the same page and go, right. The birthing process, watching an egg hatch. Everything has to hatch out of an egg. We're birthed out of an egg, a fertilised egg. Now, so let's get back to, so you could say it's a bit of both. So it's like, being birthed from the womb, but then at the same time being hatched from the egg. You could say it's that. So it's like in but out, out but in. It's like a contrary middle line position. Now, so in regards to that, sorry, that's my halfway mark. Keeps me fit as well as the dogs. I used to get on the treadmills and stuff until I was like, you know what? Let's take the dogs for a walk. That gets rid of the lactic acid out of the blood. I always go to the gym before I take the dogs for a walk. It's just the routine they've got in place. Anyway, back to it. So, the birthing process, onto the hatch. So the hatch is an individualised process, and every baby that comes out of an egg, their process is different. And that's what creates who and what we are today. Next. So if we can say we honour the hatch, let's have a look at something else, another process here, because I want to take it from a couple of angles. For ye impatient ones. Because I really want you to go, no worries, if it's 12 more months, it is what it is. Have you ever tried to hand-fed a wild animal? I love my little setup. I've got rosellas and parrots and lorikeets and magpies and cockatoos and galahs and Major Mitchells and ducks, and they're all wild. And I've got the whole lot now with their tame, and I can go out there and just put the feed down on the ground. Will they eat out of my hand? No. And then also up at the farm at Sydney, it was just this last Thursday, I was having lunch with the horses, all 7 of them at this paddock, and I had one of them standing a foot away from me whilst I was eating my sandwich. Wild, right? Now, do you think that if I stood up and chased those horses, they'd eat from my hand? Here, have my food. No. Slight enticements. That's the key to the victory. Slight enticements. See, I've got those horses now up at Sydney where I'm doing my little job site at the moment, where every time I have a meal, they come and eat my meal with me. But that took time to be able to develop the trust. I'm not saying that we're dealing with flighty animals, but what I'm saying is, like, you may have accepted that the hand, the Lord, and the grain that the Lord has, which is the manna that you are being fed, is good for your partner. You can't even tell your partner about it, that you have to step back, keep your mouth shut, and allow them to discover it on their own. It's no different to the hatching process, where you have to allow them to hatch out of the egg. Look, the long and short of it is, you might be aware of what it is that you're after, but you may still have shit that needs to be dealt with as well anyway. And we're talking like, God ain't handing us just a few crumbs, you know what I mean? Some of us are going to be literal emperors. You know what I mean? Like kings and queens, literally. And wealth beyond all measure. And do you think, like, this glittery eyes stuff is going to serve you when you need to be developing yourself to be able to cope with what it would mean to be a billionaire? How would you cope with that? You know what I mean? Like, what you'd be better off focusing on right now is, what has the Lord got me stewarding? What am I looking after at the moment? I look after thousands of acres single-handedly, and I've got the whole lot under wraps. In perfect order, great little routine. I know if a blade of grass is pushed over. And that's a part of developing myself to get to the point where it's like, excellent, what I really need now is a helpmate. Do I need the helpmate? No. It'd just be nice to be helped. Because, look, as far as the eyes can see, you know what I mean? A helpmate would be nice. Problem is when you got the skills and the talent and the ability to acquire whatever it is that you need, automating things makes life, when it's big, easy. If I need something, I'll just get the power tool for it, the hydraulics for it, the chains for it, or all the automation for it. Pets are a major part of life too, if you want things to be a little bit more simple, because they thrive on purpose. And you know, I've got 3 cats, but they're not there to look good. They look after my integrated pest and disease management issue on the hill. Like, there's no rabbits, there's no rats. So for example, with mowing, I'm going to mow a deck with the back of a tractor that does 4 metres a hit. You know, I've only got to drive, 50 metres, and that would have taken 20 minutes for a ride-on mower. You know what I mean? So just, these are, God will assist us to make life just a little bit easier as it needs to happen. Anyway, back to it. So, stop focusing on the significant other. Focus on, are you ready to be able to work with them? Can you support them in the role that you are pursuing? Have you got your life in order? Because I can tell you right now, until your life's in order, and until their life's in order, the alignment of the rib coming together is to be life partners where you both have your stuff sorted so that you can now function together as a single unit. This is not about the Cinderella story where you've got your glittery eyes and you've just been pulled out of the shed with the mop and bucket. You know what I mean? This is not a Cinderella story. God's not going to allow you to stay Cinderella before you get the marriage. You know, God wants you to essentially go through what they call in the Bible the Esther process. If you are caught in that process, you would recognize where you are up in it. And if you are not up to speed yet, go and get your head in the books. You know, you've got physical, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual works that need to be done before you are ready. Are you ready? You know what I mean? And see, I'm going to give you another example, because what I do is significant. I function at a level which is completely self-actualized, and it's not bragging, it just is what it is. And I'm wanting nothing, and I function very, very fluidly. And that actually aligns quite well with my significant other. But in regards to that, did you know that what I thought my qualifications were? So yeah, I got into exercise physiology and personal training and nutrition, and it was bodybuilding ultimately. I got into that, and you would think it was because I was going to get into the field of medicine. No, no, no. It was purely to understand how the hell I function so that I could keep myself together when I stepped into the role of what I'm doing right now, which is, stewarding the empire. Because if I didn't know how to lift properly, do you think I'd be moving those 100-kilo fittings around in those pipes? Do you think I'd be able to just willy-nilly pick up 6-foot-long chain Stilsons? You know what I mean? You've got a process to go through. God wants to bring out your full potential. And if it ain't out yet, stop focusing on the glittery eye stuff that will come. Are you ready for the glittery eye stuff? It's a reward as much as it is a benchmark to be able to receive. Don't be surprised if there's another year in it. You've got a lot of tennis to be played, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Things come to the surface, things come to the surface, things come to the surface. You do something, they do something, you do something, they do something. Nuances marry up, nuances marry up. See, the problem that my significant other has, which is the same problem that I have, is we are wanting nothing. Nothing. And I've recognised them ask the question at times. It's do you need anything? And the problem is, I don't need anything. And so the best thing that they're finding to be able to do at the moment is I'll buy you some lovely fruit or something, and it's that's about all they can do. See, there's a benefit to not having everything, because then there's gifts that you can receive. But when I see everything, I'm not trying to be rude, but been there, done that, looked at that. It's because I'm a representative of the Department of Sports and Recreation, so when I've got a tennis court available that also has pool heating underneath it, you don't think I'm going to get all the stuff dealt with the swimming pool, but also get the tennis court fixed up and, get the serving machine and all the rest of it, and the, 300 or 400 balls and a couple of tennis rackets, and, 3 or 4 sets of tennis shoes. These are just topics that were just available at that time. And then we've got the little clubhouse. We're not going to set that out with a proper projector screen and a projector. And there's a lovely little fireplace in there. And so you don't think we're going to get cinema seats. So just stuff and stuff. The reason why I know that mine will probably be, I'd say 6 months, not 12 months, is because I know what the next step is. And it'll be the home that we come together in. And that's going to take years to come to where it is we would both like it to be, because it's a fixer-upper and it's massive. It's a manor house. Anyway, and that is what it is. So none of this is bragging, it's just explaining to you that shit takes time. And if 2022 has taught you anything, it's time to throw the glittery eye stuff in the garbage bin. it no longer exists. You're not on the birthing bed. You're hatching out of a shell. And if you've hatched, your significant other may be hatching. And who knows, maybe they haven't even started hatching yet. But just like the pigeons that need to be hand-fed, it is not your job to get them to eat out of God's hand. If you're eating out of God's hand, great. Fatten yourself up on God's manna. It's God's job to entice them in to get to the point where they eat the manna out of God's hands also. Your job is to kick a few goals whilst you're in the waiting room. And if that could be the message that I've got for you for 2023, I think that sums the whole lot up. Whilst God is doing slight enticements to lure your significant other in so that they can start to eat the manna out of God's hands, hatch out of their egg, and develop into someone that would be appropriate for you, that is on the same page, you're in the waiting room. Look, they're still going through spiritual surgery. All you're trying to do, if you're not being patient, is you're trying to do an abortion. You do not want to abort this, so just wait. Get on with getting on. And if you don't know what the next step is, take a look at your position. Where am I at right now? Where am I heading? The best place to start is, what skills do I need right now to become the best version of where it is I need to go? What is the here and now skill that I need? Anyway, honour the hatching process. You have no right and no place to intervene in what is God's job. God is the one at the park bench with the grain in his hand. If you keep interfering with God's ability to get them to eat the grain out of God's hands, it will be your problem when you miss your promise. It's time to settle down. Settle down. It's time to throw all the stars and the glitz and glamour and the garbage in the bin. That's Satan's greatest tool. Nostalgia is literally Satan's greatest tool. It's time to ground right out. Put your roots into the ground and just get ready for the long haul. And who knows? Maybe it'll only be 2 months. But desperation is also Satan's great tool. Yes, you have no need to be desperate. If you are desperate, what hobbies do you have? I don't know. Do you play guitar, or is there a musical instrument? Or is there a physical sport that you want to get engaged in or something? You know, sports and rec. There should never be a reason to be concerned about whether or not they're turning up tomorrow. And when you get to that point when the concern's gone, it'll all fall into place. Yeah? Because you've let it go. So, I'm going to pull this up now. I'm walking up a hill and it's knocking me around a bit, eh? That's the point to my New Year's message is, leave the enticement to God. You're eating the manna, fatten yourself on God's manna, get good at doing what you do. They will come around. It's only a matter of time, but it's not your place to intervene. They do not need to know who you are. That is for God to show to them who you are. You know? And when the time is right, it will all make sense. They'll wake up with love in their heart one day. So you know they say you can't help who you fall in love with? That's the point. It's God who puts love in your heart. It's your job to wait for God to put the love in their heart. But if it's not in there yet, God has still got the scales on their eyes whilst he's doing a work. Until the work's done, you better get on with getting on. Right. May the Holy Spirit guide you with this conversation. Jesus loves you. Don't miss your opportunity by trying to rush things and be impatient. Get in the waiting room, accept your lot. It is what it is. Get on with setting some goals. Go and kick the damn things. So you've got a few things to talk about when the time comes that you come together. God loves you. Bye for now. Have a brilliant new year. See ya.